Welcome back to the Whiskey and Wisdom podcast. It's your constant co-host, Chris Kellum.
I'm throwing my phone. Tyler, y'all.
And our special guest.
What's up, y'all? How we doing?
What is your name, sir?
My name's Josh, and yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm Josh. I do a lot of things.
Yes, you do.
True.
Before we go deep into all the things that Josh does, we are drinking on a specialty drink.
Yeah, Chris got his cheat sheet just a second
Oh,
ago.
of
If you're
course.
watching on YouTube,
It's like I can't remember all this.
No,
there wasn't a lot of that.
it's not a lot.
It's not a lot. It's just different.
The words are longer than 6 letters, so I forget them.
Right.
Fair.
And
But
it's Sunday, you know, like the brain isn't functioning 100% maybe.
no,
It's fine.
I did a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
But we're drinking on a strawberry mint spritz from Azalea Station. So strawberry mint simple syrup, some muddled mint, champagne, Saint Germain's. What is Saint Germain? It's Saint Germain. Everybody knows what that is. And some Tito's vodka.
It's a liqueur. That's all I know.
That's all I got for you.
I don't know what kind.
But it's actually really good.
Dude, it's light,
is.
refreshing,
Yeah.
great for like a hot day.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Clink.
Clink.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
It's been a while in the making. I've seen you a few times around in the
Yeah.
wild, and I'm like, oh, we should.
You know what's funny? We actually saw you when we were talking about the Pilates studio and the distillery over
Yes.
there. We saw you over there. And ever since then, we talk about bringing you
Like,
on every
wait a
single
minute.
month.
But he wasn't in the Pilates studio. He was getting his hair cut.
Right.
Yeah.
And styled.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or colored. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, I obviously was going to Queen Street right around the corner here, but Devin just had to leave.
Yeah.
And now he's forcing me to drive, you know, an hour and a half, days up the road to go get a haircut. So, no, I'll follow him anywhere.
That says a lot, though, that you are willing to drive the Topsail.
Yeah. It especially now that I've like totaled my car driving up there once.
Oh, no.
Is that that happened?
So we were on a job up that way, and just on the way home, like just coming down the 17, whatever that is, it's a 2-lane highway.
Yeah.
Like no lights, nothing. Like it just was us, and some elderly lady just decided, coming up from the other way, just decided to turn into our oncoming traffic.
Oh,
and just
jeez.
totaled the car. Everyone was fine. She
Yeah.
walked away too, which was great. But yeah, now I'm in a brand new vehicle thanks to Ethel.
Right. Well, you did say you're coming back from a job. So what job was that, to get into a little bit of you?
Yeah, so let's see. So I do a lot of things. I would just call myself a professional creative. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
most of what I do is photo and video for weddings. I run a small agency that deals with corporations, companies, and some small businesses. And then I own Film Studio, which is right here in Cargo East, representing the Cargo District. Even though there's no cargo containers over there, but we're still claiming it.
Not yet.
We're still claiming
Not
it.
yet.
That's right. not
They'll
yet.
they'll eventually bring them over.
Oh yeah.
I feel like there is one, but it's like not on the main strip. It's like back behind the.
It's in the plant place. They did use cargo doors for the that one area.
What?
Yeah.
And they're going to put more back there. I know they
Yeah.
will, but Leslie's he's just building everything all the time. It's like, this is going up over here, the food hall, and he's got so much on
Creative
his
in a
plate.
different way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's definitely a creative.
So how did you get involved in all types of the creations that you're doing?
Man, I think, so I guess at the time, which is funny, kind of, you were just sharing a story of like how you originally knew me from, was back at old school church days.
Yes.
And I was not hired as a creative person on staff there, but I just sort of like saw a hole in the in the job, and I was like, well, let me just try to do this. Like, why are we outsourcing this to some templated website that didn't feel very much like us? And so I just started doing it. And then so I think some people who were going to the church at the time, I guess, saw what I could do and asked me to be a part of their company. So I was an associate shooter for another wedding company in town. Nice. And then just felt the desire to do it for myself, you know, eventually. Like after a year of working with her, I was like, there was some stuff that went down, which I don't know if it's probably for a different podcast, because there's a lot of drama that went down with that. Like embezzlement and like, it was bad. It was wild.
Oh.
Nothing on their part, so they're cool. But it was like their business partners. But I was written out of the contract and decided to do my own thing. And at that time, I was doing all of it. I was doing like music videos, business promos, weddings.
Oh gosh.
Which was a lot. But just starting out, it just felt too broad. And I couldn't really market it very well. Where it was like, you come to my website and you're like, but you're a wedding client, but then you see business stuff on there and you're like, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I'm all in the wrong place. Or the opposite, where like you are a business, but you're like, I just see a bunch of wedding videos on here. Again, maybe I'm in the wrong place. So I sort of niched back down into just doing weddings for a couple years. And then if someone asked me to do a promo or photos or video for a business, then I would do it. But I didn't really advertise it. And then I guess 2021, I officially quit my 9-to-5.
Nice.
And officially made like an LLC for the weddings, made an LLC for like the agency side, which does the small businesses and companies, and just did that full force. And then, I don't know, like it's been a year and a half with the studio.
Sounds about right,
yeah. Just full force, man, nonstop.
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
I love watching the evolution. And it's always interesting because like on the podcast, like people, we were talking about this before, like people know us for the podcast.
Right.
And I know people from social media, like I follow your artwork and your creativeness because like I was getting married in 21. I was like, okay, let me look around. Let me see who these different wedding photographers are. And it's so interesting to see what different creatives visualize. Because like some people will be like, oh, we're going to do quote unquote natural, or we're going to do something a little bit more edited, or they're doing darker tones or brighter.
Dark and moody. We're making a Batman movie.
Yes. Right. That unfortunately doesn't work.
Yeah.
When you have a wedding that's mixed coloration.
Right. Right.
Some people just don't show up. So
wow.
It is true. Unfortunately, I found that out.
Yeah.
Looking through people's photos. But I was like, oh, I know you. I was like, oh, let's follow your work. And I've just loved to see the evolution of your business, and like the quality of your work is definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's crazy to think like I never thought that this is what I would do and I'd be able to be my own boss. But here I am. Thriving, at least enough. The bills are getting paid. There's food on the table, and I'm still here.
Nice. So, on a side note, well, a connecting note, running a business. Do you have an accountant? Okay.
Are they taking
I think you know him, Jesse Simpson.
Oh,
back from again.
I didn't know he was.
Oh yeah.
See, I follow his wife, but I don't follow him, and I'm like, wait. No, he's local too.
Oh, is he taking clients?
Actually, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he works for, I'm always pronouncing it wrong, Wouters. It's like right behind like the Jaguar dealership that's right back.
Oh,
that little business park back there. But man, he's my CPA. He's saved me so much money, especially when it comes to tax season. I'm like, I don't know what magic you're doing. I'm not going to ask any questions.
We know it's legal.
Yeah, if you know if you're doing it, it's legal.
Yeah,
we're good. But yeah, he's the man for sure.
Good. We'll have to.
But they're not cheap. But that's,
right. Yeah.
But it just felt like I needed that when it was like when I had the two LLCs and then the studio. I was like, I have to get this organized, like the money side of things, and have somebody.
Oh, for
watching
sure.
over it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I'm doing.
Because that's the time when the government will show up.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, are you sure you didn't know you were doing this? Yeah.
So we talked about your shoes before too. So you are from Philly.
Yes, sir.
So
West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Did you ever,
playground.
Okay.
I was going to say, did you ever play on playgrounds?
Where I spent most of my days.
Oh, okay.
So what brought you down here, and does the Philly side still show up in different types of creative aspects?
For sure, yeah. So let's see. So after I left Philly, so I lived there for about 23 years, and then I moved to New York City for like 3 or 4 years. And at that time in my life, like I was trying to do artist management, and it was going well, but still, there's not a lot of money in that unless you're way far up in the music industry, which still was great. I mean, we were talking with labels like Columbia Records, Fueled by Ramen, if you guys know them. That's where like Fall Out Boy is, Panic at the Disco, and Paramore, all them. And then Hopeless Records, which is where like All Time Low used to be on. Anyway, very emo bands, because that was the genre we were in. But anyway, doing that. But New York just ate me alive, man. Like I just couldn't really thrive there very well. I think if I went back now, I think I'd do great, like doing photography and the creative stuff that I do, but I just wasn't doing it back then. And I broke up with a girlfriend at the time, and my dad had moved down here because his parents used to live in Wilson. And so they, of course, moved down here to be closer to them. And I was like, well, I could either move back to Philly, but that kind of feels like moving backwards, or let me just try something new. So I came down as like a 25, 26-year-old dude, came to the beach, and I was like, yep, this is it. This is this is it for me. Just a slower pace of life. People were nicer. Just felt right. Just felt like the right fit for that time. Yeah. And so, so fell in love with it. And then, but yeah, man, always try to incorporate the culture that I've, grown up in my creative. And then specifically for the studio, even the name, it's called Film. So it's PHILM. So it's Philly and Wilmington. So putting the two together. And even have a neon sign in there of a word. It's called Jawn. I don't know if you know the word. JAWN. Yeah. And it literally just means anything. Yeah. So like, hey, just pass me that Jawn right there. Or hey, look at that Jawn over there. Or look at these Jawns I'm wearing, like. And I even have it tattooed on me, so.
That's awesome. I'm from Lancaster, PA.
Okay,
and, so I did some DJing, and I spent a lot of time in Philly. And, we said it all the time. And my parents were like, what does it mean? I'm like, anything?
Anything.
And just like, so, like, if you, for anything. I'm like, no, it's like actually anything.
Literally
and
anything.
Like,
or a girl.
Okay. Yeah.
Or a girl. Sure. My side Jawn or,
It's so funny because, like, legitimately every area you go to has a different culture, but you hear a word and you're like, oh, yep.
That's definitely Philly. That's definitely New York.
Yes. I found out, more recently that Boston people have two different accents.
Like a Southie?
Yeah. Like there's an accent for like Caucasian people and an accent for non-Caucasians because they're on different sides of the city. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense based on the people that move there. But you never really see movies of Boston. Like when you see Boston people, it's typically Southeast.
Boston.
Yeah.
Like everyone has that deep accent.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, y'all are that close to each other? You don't have.
Right.
Okay.
That's Philly though too.
I was gonna say that's Philly, yeah.
South Philly accent, is gonna be different than like someone who lives in West Philly or Northeast is. It's brutal.
So you brought up Philly again.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? So I do have to ask, what's the best cheesesteak?
Here
No.
in Philly?
Both.
So if you're gonna go in Philly, I'm gonna say D'Alessandro's.
Okay.
Max's is good, even though they just made it in. I think it was in Creed. I think that's where they went.
Okay.
Oh.
But I think because it, now it's been like more of a touristy thing, it's kind of lost its whatever. Pat's and Gino's was always
I would say that's
everyone goes there,
which is the touristy spot because they're catty corner from each other, and it's just not good. But I would say
Don't order
D'Alessandro's.
fast enough, they kick you out.
Yeah. Lorenzo's maybe. I used to love Jim's down on South Street too. But I would definitely say D'Alessandro's. Last time we were there, we went to D'Alessandro's, and it's greasy as hell.
That's the point,
It's
though.
so good. Yeah.
And you call it a cheesesteak, not a chopped cheese. Is there a
That's
difference?
New York.
That's New
That's New
the right
York, yeah.
place.
I don't even know if that's like the same meat. Like I know
I think it's
beef.
different meats.
Yeah, because
Is
they
it
use
ground
the,
beef or is it for chopped cheese?
I think it's ground meat.
Yeah.
Because I had a chopped cheese from Grimm the other night. So delicious. But it definitely has a different texture than like Philly, like a cheesesteak.
Is there a good cheesesteak in Wilmington?
Whew, man, I'm gonna offend so many people here probably.
But see, but you're from Philly. It's like when I ask someone from New York, is there a good pizza joint? And they're like, no. And you also have horrible bagels. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well.
Yeah, and they're not entirely
Not only
wrong.
does your pizza suck, your bagels suck too.
Yeah. No, I will say, even though it's still a little unorthodox as far as like the traditional cheesesteak, I actually really love if they just do their classic from Cheesesmith.
When they bring that out.
Yeah, so I know they put like this whatever aioli that goes on it, which would never go on a, on a traditional one, but damn, bro, it's good. And just the way that they chop it up, which is key too. The bread is like a huge factor. Again, like the bagels, like they don't have good bagels down here because there's something with the water or the air or something. So the bread has to be key, and they put enough cheese on it. So yeah, I would say Cheesesmith, man.
Okay. It's
Before
also
we
in the
go-
Cargo District.
Yeah, too.
Or Landfall Shopping Center has
the
a
new
joint
one.
now. And
They've got it always on their menu at
Yes.
the Landfall one.
Right.
Which I haven't made it out to there yet, but we were just at the Cargo one yesterday.
May have talked me into it today. So
Yes, so good.
It's like we have to place an order because when we record on Sundays, there's not enough time to roll up in there
to
and be
make it
like, oh,
happen.
let's order.
Yeah.
Well, before we go too far down the food rabbit hole, because that's where Chris likes to go. So what are you focusing on now, kind of business-wise, that you're super excited about, like ready to run into?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I guess right now, because I just do so much, like I'm not doing anything new. But September is a wedding month. That's when weddings kick back up. So like we've got 5 weddings just in September alone, and but then I also have the agency clients and then the studio. So I think the weddings is probably going to take my biggest focus right now, just because it's the most pressing thing that's coming up. But then, man, the studio is probably my newest baby that I love the most, and just I would love to use it more. I'd love for other people to use it more, but it's I love that spot. It's something cool and different, and it feels very different than all the other businesses I have because it's me doing a camera or doing something creative. This is just like someone else come use it, which is cool. So, yeah.
There's nothing else really like it, or I don't think there's anything at all like it in Wilmington, right?
As far as I know, I mean, I know there's like little studios here and there, but nothing like if you have a camera, like I have everything else. That's generally the gist. Like I've got lighting, accessories, decor, furniture, all the different aesthetics that you can go in there. It's not just like pull the little white paper backdrop down. Like it's legit.
So with that being said, like we know what you do in there because we see it all the time, like what's going on in the Cargo District. But for the listeners that may not know what your studio is, they may be thinking, hey, pull down the white piece of paper. Let's take some headshots. So kind of elaborate a little bit more what you got going on. Talk about the duck wall, all that fun stuff.
So the gist is essentially, if you have a camera, I have everything else for you. Obviously not everything. I can't use that as a blanket statement, but I pretty much. I do. But it's a content studio, and so you can use it for your brand, your business, product stuff. Some people just do content in there. I've seen people just roll up with their cell phone, but I've already got 9 or so different aesthetics, including the rubber ducky wall, which is what you were just mentioning. I mean, there are over 3,000 rubber duckies.
Are they all the same ducks?
That's insane.
The classic ducks, or did you get the funky Jeep Boy ducks?
So they're just classic, but we were building it out and like planning it out. I was like, okay, we just need 1,500 because that sounds like
a lot,
way more than we'll need. And then we started like putting in the shelves, and we're like, I have nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. And so then, so we had to go back to Amazon, because that's where else you're going to find
1,500
bulk,
rubber ducks.
tiny little 1-inch rubber duckies. And then, of course, they didn't have the same rubber duckies as we had because we sold them out, I guess, of the last order.
Sheesh.
So I had to find, some other site. And then, and even in the bag of the new one, there was like the yellows were a little different, or like some had eyelashes and some didn't. But the way that we sort of stagger them in the studio is you can't really tell, and like in the photo you don't really know.
Yeah.
But you're just so overwhelmed that it's 13 rows of rubber duckies, and then a giant yellow clawfoot bathtub that I got off of Facebook Marketplace, and some meth head helped me hook up in the studio. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean he like shoved like a screwdriver in there to get the feet in there, and he did it. I said thank you. That's all that matters.
that's all
Paid him a little bit of money. We're like, here you go. Man.
Yeah. So, and he brought it from, I don't know, Topsail or somewhere. So.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
But now don't get me wrong, there are paper backdrops in there, so
Right,
you can
yeah.
do that. But it is remote controlled, so that's at least a little more
that's nice.
upscale.
Then having to jump up and just
yeah.
drag it down.
None of that. And I've got 3 pre-rigged colors, but I do have multiple that if people want to swap it out before the studio, they can get in there. But yeah, there's like a little lounge area with couches. There's a little desk in there. And then I have 2 little rooms, and I call them like headshot rooms because they're just like a little 4x7 room. And that those get sort of swapped out every 4 or 5 months or so.
Okay.
Because both of them used to be different. One used to be like a foil room, and the other one used to be like a jungle room or something like that.
Yeah.
And now one is covered in $100 bills,
Nice.
which is a vibe.
Yeah.
They're movie theater hundreds. Just
They
so you
are,
guys
yes,
know.
they
They're-
are, yeah.
They're movie theater
Don't
$100
rip
bills.
down the hundreds.
Don't not only when you're using it, don't steal them, but don't just break into the studio thinking that I have $10,000 worth of hundreds,
Cash.
because they're not.
Most expensive wallpaper.
Yeah,
Anyways.
right.
Not that anyone who listens to the podcast would do that, but I'm like,
You never
Just in
know.
case.
just to make
Never
sure.
I have thought about it because I'm like, man, if someone can see that in the, through the door,
yeah.
and I'm like, are they just thinking this is? And plus, I have like prop stacks
Yeah.
that you can hold,
yeah.
So I'm like, they just see the stacks of money sitting there. I'm like, oh Lord.
People have done dumber things.
Yes.
I mean,
So-
I remember when I saw when you swapped it over, and I'm like, I really hope these are not real.
Bro, I'm making,
dang,
I'm
Josh is
making a
doing
fair amount of
well.
money, but I'm not making that much money where I'm just going to slap real money on a wall.
Gosh, someone would. I'm sure.
Pete would.
Yeah, I was just say yeah.
Pete Fournier, if you're listening, you would.
For you.
Yes.
You would.
Yes. I'm supposed to call him for something next month anyway, so.
He'll probably be
It is
off
next
in
month.
Italy or buying
Like
Rolexes.
October.
Oh, October.
Yeah.
He'll be busy buying Rolexes or traveling to.
Same. Which is where he
That's how I met
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably how. Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. No. I had laughed because I met him, like, they came down in, like, late 2020, looking at places. And for legitimately the first year, I'm like, I don't actually know what you look like. Like, I have, like, 6 or 7 clients where I'm like, they were good clients of mine, and I always saw them in a mask and didn't actually
yeah.
know what I was
COVID.
like, I know you by your hair and your eyes. So
your
if
eyes.
if you change one of those, like you put glasses on and you cut
lost.
never
you
know.
can't-
Yeah.
You can't miss me. There's only 2 of us in the whole store.
Hey, he's a testament to, you just never know who's in your network.
Yeah.
Because I actually was a second photographer at his wedding. So I helped shoot his
no
wedding.
way.
And then, as you know, he's one of my clients now. So, and we've traveled, Atlanta, Dallas, all these places, doing content together and even content here locally. So just never know who's in your network, man. It's
Yeah, that's
great.
cool. I didn't know you traveled with him to all those places too.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Speaking at all these conferences, and
Yeah.
we're eating, I don't know, $300 tomahawk steaks, and just
Right.
because. And this guy, man, he knows how to ball out for sure. He has a good time.
That's neat.
I say it's a balance because, like, there's a level because some people spend money just to spend it, and then other times you're spending money because when you're at a certain level in the game, people have to be like, that's my goal.
Yeah.
And if they don't see you as a goal, then they're never going to want to be like, oh, let's do that.
Yeah.
There was a guy who he's a coach and he's friends with actually one of my coaches, but he was talking about that he had this client where like started with him when he was like just barely starting as a small business owner, and then got him making like good big money, and shows up to one of their like next coaching things, and he shows up in this like lime green Lamborghini, and he goes, I don't think I can coach you anymore. He was like, I've coached you better than this. I don't know why you're like spending money like this. He goes, man, you don't understand. He goes, I grew up in the ghetto. He goes, when I show up in the ghetto with this car, he goes, these
They'll
kids
freak out.
show
Oh, for sure.
they see hope.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that they see when they see that come down here, because they saw me when I had nothing, when I was dealing dope on the corner. And when they see this car, they see hope that there's a way out of here. He goes, so you can cut me off all you want. He goes, I'm keeping that car because I'm showing these kids hope for my community.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
Okay.
It's like, that was powerful.
Turn a green Lamborghini into hope.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but it's just
Right.
Like
It's because like that's what like those kids kind of like reference as success, right? Absolutely. So you have to kind of hit that same thing.
Oh, for sure.
So like some people it's the all gold Rolex, right? Like some people it's like it's the Lamborghini. For other people it might be like 3 houses like in different locations. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I personally prefer nice tennis shoes, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I'm still having an issue with that. Like I've
Tennis
acquired a few pairs of nice shoes, but I don't have any shirts. Like it's the whole. Most
What do you
people
mean
like,
by nice shoes? Like some loafers or like?
oh no, I have like a few pairs of like Jordans, like just
Okay.
nice different colors.
What's like the best shoe in your closet right now?
I have a pair of Travis Scott's.
Nice.
And because I love green, and I'm like, so I got them, and I'm like, these are amazing.
Oh, those are the ones that sat at the studio for like 9 years.
Yeah, I had them shipped to the studio, and when Tyler was like, "Why are these here?"
Like,
It's
why do we have shoes?
there's an answer to
So
that.
these are too big for me.
But the problem is that I love green, but the shade of green they are doesn't match.
Is it like the olives?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to like.
Sorry.
I make decent money now,
Right.
so it's a pain trying to find something that's like that would work with that. So
With
now,
that,
yeah, and I'm not a skinny guy, so like finding shirts that work,
Right.
and then finding pants, it's a whole
A lot
ordeal.
of pieces to the puzzle.
Yes.
To make happen.
And I'm like just for one outfit, and I feel
right. Yeah.
it's like
So we talked about your sneakers beforehand too. So are you a sneakerhead?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I've definitely fell off in the last like maybe year or two, but when I was on staff at the last place I was at, there was a lot of sneakerheads there, and like I was hitting on Travis Scott's and different ones, Yeezys, but yeah, I definitely kind of fell off. I did buy. I mean, these are recent; these just dropped in the last like couple months, but dad life. Opening the studio, just some things take priority.
just a few things,
A little bit.
Jumping from shoes to dad life, because you're rocking the boy dad hat.
Boy, Dad, if you know, you know, the dad gang hats, yeah.
I love those hats.
Yeah, they're so good.
I'm like, I won't ever wear them, but I still, it's okay. It's understandable. How is dad life?
I love dad life, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it's hard. Yeah, it's plenty hard, and my kid can be a pain in the ass sometimes, or a lot of times.
How old?
He just turned 4 in March. So
Oh hell yeah!
it's a great age. It's so fun. But yeah, little jerk running around. But he's great though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great, man. It's tiring, but it's so rewarding, and seeing him grow up, and like now he's at that age too where we can even play catch.
Right.
Nice.
And which I know it seems such a small thing, but you're like, for the first couple of years, you're like, how do I play and interact with you? Yeah, which it seems silly, but you're like, I don't really know how to do it. And you just kind of sit there next to your kid, and then now it's like we can do so much more, and it's fulfilling, it's exciting, and he's just handsome,
Yeah.
It's so funny, because it's always the thing is like, what do you do with a baby?
Yeah.
All I've ever seen is like throw the kid in the air, catch him, throw him in the air, catch him, and then just
Right. Yeah.
Everyone's like, you're not a kid adult. I'm like, no, because I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
Like if if I can't have a conversation, what am I supposed to say?
Right. Well, and especially for that first year, they just either sleep. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
And eat, and sleep, and that's it.
Yep.
All they do.
Yeah.
And do nothing.
My wife's always like, I like the infant stage. I'm like, I don't know what to do with them. Like, what's going on? But yeah, I have a 4-year-old as well
Yeah,
too.
man.
Also a 2-year-old.
It's a good age. Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, so back to back. And the
I
2-year-old
could
thinks
not.
she's a 4-year-old. So it's,
Oh, of course.
needs to keep up with the big brother.
But I know it helps them like grow up a little faster and
Right.
like because they watch their sibling do some of these things.
Exactly.
Which is kind of nice. Which, yeah.
Yeah.
My kid's he's an only child, so.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the goal?
So right now I'm engaged. Recently
Congrats.
engaged. Thank
Nice.
you in July. We just got engaged, and I already told her, I was like, "Look, I'm not getting any younger. I know I may
Very
not.
true.
I know I may not look that old, but I will be 40 next year.
Oh.
Yep. And I was like, as soon as we get married, girl, I'm ready. Like, if you wanna,
If you want to, we're
yeah,
down. Let's
we're
go.
ready. Yeah. So
That's great.
I think she'd like at least one more, but probably 2 more. So
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. I will follow the whole. I just like seeing my friends. Everyone's like, "Oh, you should have kids," and I'm like, I enjoy the ability to return them.
Watch the friends do it. Yeah.
Hey, right.
Like,
Live
I'll see.
vicariously.
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, do you need a babysitter? I'm not working. I have that urge that I need some birth control. Like, let's play with your kids."
Yeah.
Nope,
Spend
here you go.
spend an hour with like a 3-year-old and under. That's enough birth control.
Or a 10 to 16-year-old,
Oh,
like that 10
gosh.
to 14.
I'm not looking forward. I am looking forward to that age, but I just know that's that age where you're like, screw you, parents. You're
Yeah.
like,
Right,
I know way better than you, and I'm just like, bro.
Yeah. And even though, like, the 4-year-olds can be, like, a pain in the ass, like, they still
Yeah.
look up to you like a hero.
Yeah, like I'm still
So-
his hero. I'm a super. Yeah, we got a book in the car right now. It's like Dad is a superhero, and it's
Right.
like he loves that book. But I know at some point I'm gonna be his worst enemy.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't done a single thing different.
Right.
Been the
exactly.
same way.
Yeah,
Trying to educate them, try to treat them right.
yeah.
Talking about conversations with, like, kids, though, once they turn, like, 3 and 4, they have some ridiculous conversations.
Oh
Do they?
God, the stories they tell. Mm-hmm. That's mind. And then it's always like at bedtime too.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you've been in here for like an hour. I've been trying to get you to go to sleep, and you're telling me about, I don't know, it's some story at school with some octopus, and and you're like, what? But and then it's like, can you get me a glass of water? And I'm hungry, and I'm like, dude, just go to sleep.
I saw a meme that said there's no better hydrated person in the world than a toddler right before bedtime.
Right before bedtime. Oh my gosh.
And then they have to get up and go pee,
Yep, and
and
then
they're
there's
like, "Oh, I can't deal with this."
Yeah.
So, joking about life. I always have a question, and every other week we record, I'm like, "Oh, I know this," and then I'm like, "Wait," and then I forget it. So
Do you remember it?
no, that's why I was like, hopefully I was gonna look at Tyler and be like, "Oh, I remember this." No, it didn't work.
But no, it didn't click.
I'll follow up. What does success look like for you? So,
Oh, man.
looking forward, what does success kind
That's
of
what
where you
you
want to
wanna
go?
Yes.
That's what
Yeah,
you were gonna
yeah.
say, yeah. I knew
We
that.
know each other. It just takes a while.
You finish each other's
Sentences?
sandwiches. Yeah.
Oh.
Again, he's
I was
not
gonna
a-
say,
No,
yeah,
it'd
that's
be-
a dad life.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
problem is that if I try to finish a sandwich, like my bite is like a quarter of a sandwich.
Right.
I'm like, sorry, kid. I'm
Sorry, you got nothing left.
no. Whoops.
Success. I think that's changed over the years for sure. Because I think I didn't grow up not having anything. I mean, I think I've always pretty much had most anything I've wanted. Although I would say, like, my mom, she filed for bankruptcy when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I had split households and things like that, and grew up in a fine neighborhood in Philly, but was surrounded by a lot of not good areas. But so I think my idea of success, of course, started on the trajectory of more of the financial side of, like, I want to be financially stable, which I think that's still a great goal to have.
Yeah.
But getting older and, like, realizing maybe what's a little bit more important in life, and that's, like, being rich in relationships, whether that's friends or family, and having kids. And I mean, because they drain you financially. If you want to be rich, don't have kids.
Or
But-
just make more money.
Right, yeah, or that.
Just make more money, duh.
That's the men mentality.
But, it's like, yeah, for sure, yeah. But it is that balance of, like, why I want to make more money, but I also want to be available, like, for my kid and from
Right.
the people around me. And like, if I'm working my ass off 24/7, yeah, I may have a lot of money in the bank, but like, I have no time for me. I got no time for my people. That's a shitty life.
Yeah.
Right.
Truthfully. So success looks like, yeah, rich in relationships and a fair amount of money in the bank too.
Yep.
While I'm doing it.
Of course.
You know, and I think I'm at a good place now where I feel like I've hit that. I mean, I still want to keep going up and to the right. But like I make a fair amount of money now. I never thought I'd make as much as I do now, especially being my own boss. But I also am like, you know, if I want to go drink with the boys on a random Thursday at lunchtime, I can go do it. Or if my kid wants to try out a karate class, you know, in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, I can go do it.
Yep.
Right.
And so, yeah, man, rich in relationships, but some money in the bank too. That's success to me.
Yeah.
I like that. So
Chris can take my question since I took his.
we go back and forth if I remember it. If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Like, it doesn't have to be your kid self. It could be a few years ago, a month ago. It don't matter.
That's a good one. Probably the biggest, the quickest thing that comes to my mind is that like, just stick at it, keep showing up. Like even on those hard days, even when you don't want to, even when it feels like you're not making progress or you're not making momentum. But when you can pull yourself out of the weeds, like you really do see how much progress you are making. You have that 30,000 foot view. And so just keep pushing and you're going to be okay. And,
Nice.
cause yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like I said, I had the 9 to 5, and for any of those people out there that work a 9 to 5, the 9 to 5 is safe. I'll put quotes on that.
Yes.
I'll put very big quotes on that. They make you think it's safe, in my opinion.
Right.
But so it feels very scary to be like, well, I'm going to leave that behind. Because truthfully, yeah, if I don't work, I don't get paid.
Right.
You know. But when you're working your 9 to 5 salary job, you could have a really slow week and still make the same amount of money. But you could also have an insane week, but you still only make the same amount of money.
Yep.
But yeah, just seeing the life that I have now, I just never thought that it would be possible. And so like keep showing up, and that this life can be possible if you just work hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
Love it.
that's it.
Because we're wrapping up.
Uh-huh.
Where can people follow your journey as a creative, and shout out yourself? Like,
I got like, they're all over the place. Like
Yeah.
all the social medias. They're all over the place. You're more than welcome to follow my personal, which I mean, I don't post a whole lot of like my creative stuff on my personal. But I have Instagram. There's Heart First Weddings, for anything wedding related, which we do photo and video. A Heart First Agency, which is anything commercial, corporate in that world. And then film studio for the studio here in Wilmington. That is more like, I just post some promo content on there. I don't do a lot of creative stuff, but I love showcasing what other people do in the studio. So, plus it's a great place for businesses and brands to be a part of. So if you want headshots, that's the place to be for sure.
Right.
And then I did just reanimate my TikTok. 'Cause I'm like starting the day in the life as a professional creative. Because I know it's very like glamorized, and it's like, oh, you know, wake up at 4:30 a.m. and do a cold plunge, and then I do this, and you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, here's what a real life professional creative is. It's like, hey, you may wake up at 8 o'clock. You may not sit down at your desk until 10, and you know, you can leave at 3 to go to your kid's karate thing. So I want to show people that you can still be very successful in the way that I was just describing, you know, with rich relationships, but still having plenty of money in the bank. That it doesn't have to be this like TikTok, Instagram, glamorous highlight reel version of that. Sometimes it is, of course.
yeah.
But that it sometimes it just is, it's sitting in your sweatpants editing, and that it's, you know, it's very just real. And so, so TikTok, but it's all just my name. So Josh Tyndall.
Nice.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Easy enough, hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was
But yeah.
That was fun.
A lot of fun.
Never sat down and like talked to somebody like I knew from the past.
Yeah, dude. I want to do more. I want to talk more like business stuff. Like I'm very much like, here's how to like be better at business, because there's so many creatives in this town. I feel like they're like, just give me the camera, and like that's good enough. But it's like if you can't run your business, then you won't last very long. So let's do it again.
Stay in contact because actually I might need you next month.
Yes.
And you'd be the perfect person
Sign me
for
up.
it.
We are always the good thing and the bad thing about me and Tyler is that we are always coming up with new concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's
Trying to
always,
rein them in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reining them
yeah.
in. And so we're currently working on stuff. Or he's working.
He's working on it.
And I'm just here to
For
look
this
cute.
one anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a desire to really help a lot of creatives to find their niche and to really get locked in. Because I feel like once I like cared about systems and processes and figured out ways to scale my business is when I really was able to flourish.
Yeah.
Versus just like, oh, I just do photos and I post about it on Facebook and,
Right.
so it's like, it's really changed the game for me. And it's like, if I could help some other people do that, like, yeah.
Thank you. We need it.
Yeah.
We all do. I don't have all the answers for sure by any means, but again, I figured out what works for me at least,
Right.
So if I can help somebody else out,
Perfect.
down. And maybe we can go to the studio and do this.
Yes.
That'd
That's
be
what I was
cool
gonna say.
too. Yeah.
I thought about it, but doing a studio, it has to be like an off Sunday, because then we have to like
Yeah. Can't
take
batch
it
them
all and
That's right, because you do it, you batch content. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can do them all over there. That's fine.
That works. We can do that
also
too.
true.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it in recording, right? So
Right.
you don't have it in writing, but you have it in recording.
we have it visually
Sometimes
and
better.
audio.
Yeah, that's just as legally binding.
There you go.
Right.
Well, thank
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so
Cheers.
much for coming
Thanks
on.
for having me.
Cheers.
Catch you. We'll catch everybody in the next one. Tyler's too short to reach his cup.
I know.
Ha. But yeah, thank you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on all the social media platforms. And yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
See you at the next one. Boom.